Hryhorii Skovoroda was an 18th century philosopher, poet and composer of religious music. A number of his writings can be found in his songs, several of which have been adapted to Ukrainian folk music. Skovoroda's work contributed to the culture of both Russia and Ukraine. He has been called Socrates, both as a moralist and one whose Socratic style is intended to stimulate thought and self-introspection. At the same time, Skovoroda's writings are imaginative, witty and dramatic, with themes that highlight happiness and appreciation of life. Skovoroda did not seek to have his work published while he was still alive. He was more concerned with living in a manner true to the moral values upheld in his writings. 3 days prior to his death, Skovoroda went to stay with one of his closest friends. Each day he left the house and it was discovered that he was digging his own burial place beneath a tree. On the 3rd day he announced that his time had come and he simply lay down and passed away. At his request, his epitaph said, "The world tried to capture me, but didn't succeed." In recognition of his works and numerous contributions, Hryhorii Skovoroda's portrait was printed on the second largest banknote in circulation in Ukraine, the 500 hryvnia note. We now share with you excerpts from his writings in a conversation among 5 travelers concerning life's true happiness. God's power is with us. We have peace with God. You have to stand bravely and give no ground to the devil. If you resist, he will flee from you. It is shameful to fail in resisting one idle invader or even a small party of them. O Lord, how remiss we are in winning and keeping that peace of the heart that is the most precious thing on earth or in heaven. A man should think only of this when he is alone and speak only of this when he is with others, whether at home or on the road, lying down or getting up. But when do we think of it? How little self-knowledge have we attained, having forgotten our house, which was not built by man, and its head, our soul, and the soul's head, the God-like paradise of peace. Our just reward is that we can scarcely find one heart in 1,000 that is not occupied by a garrison of several detachments of demons. Since we did not learn to stand guard for God and to continue this most profitable battle, we have become a truth negligent, deaf, stupid, cowardly, unskilled, and generally weak fighters, so that God's greatest favor to us, which we fail to appreciate, perplexes our hearts as a wolf does sheep. For example, one man worries because he is not well born, handsome of countenance, or gently bred. Another is troubled because, although he leads a blameless life, many people, both high-born and base, hate and disparage him, calling him a desperado, scoundrel, or hypocrite. A third grieves because he has not attained the profession or station that could have provided him with 10-course dinners instead of the 6 courses he now has. A fourth torments himself trying to hold on to a burdensome but profitable profession so as to not die of boredom in idleness, never realizing that nothing is more useful and important than to manage piously not one's external domestic economy, but one's internal spiritual economy. That is, to know oneself and to bring order into one's heart. A fifth makes himself miserable because he feels he has the ability to serve society but cannot fight his way through so many candidates to gain the position he seeks, as though only public servants had occasion to be virtuous, and as though service were different from good works or good works from virtue. A sixth is filled with alarm because his hair has begun to turn grey, because pitiless old age with its dreadful army is approaching hour by hour, followed by invincible death with yet another army. He worries because his body is beginning to grow weak, his eyes and teeth are failing, he no longer has the strength to dance, he can no longer eat and drink as heartily as he once could, or enjoy it as much, and so on. But can one count the countless hordes of unclean spirits and black crows, or, according to Paul, earthly spirits of malice that roam the dark and unlimited abyss of our soul? All these petty spirits are not yet giants, nor the greatest idlers, but they really perturb our hearts, which are unskilled in battle and unarmed with counsel. But was this the kind of heart found in our ancient ancestors? Listen to what Luke writes about the first Christians. In them was one soul and one heart. But what is it? What kind of a heart was in them? Besides harmonious love, it was filled with rejoicing that they were counted worthy to suffer shame for his name. And here is another heroic heart. We who are slandered take comfort. I rejoice in my suffering. Who can read the part of his epistle that is read on the day of his victory without being amazed? It is a spectacle of the most wonderful miracles that captivate the heart's eye. What a miracle! What brings others bitter disappointment brings Paul mirth, because his breath or soul is like a healthy stomach, which thrives on the coarsest and hardest food. Is this not to have a diamond heart? The heaviest blow shatters everything else, but strengthens him. O peace! You are God's and God is yours. This is true happiness. To obtain a heart encircled by diamond walls and to say, God's power is with us. We have peace with God. This peace is lofty and difficult to obtain. How marvelous was the heart that thanked God for all things. It is difficult, almost impossible, but it is worthy of the greatest effort. It is difficult, but without such peace, life is 1,000 times more difficult. It is laborious, but this labor frees us from countless very heavy labors. Is it not shameful to say that it is difficult to carry this yoke, when in carrying it we find a treasure like the heart's peace? Take my yoke upon you, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. How much effort do we expend to little purpose, often vainly and sometimes harmfully? To feed and clothe the body is difficult but needful. We cannot get along without it. Bodily life consists of this, and no one should regret this effort, for without it one will fall into sore distress, into cold, hunger, thirst, and sickness. But would you not find it easier to live on rough herbs and have peace and consolation in your heart than to dine at an overflowing table and be like a whited sepulchre filled with unsleeping worms that gnaw at the soul day and night without rest? Is it not better to cover one's poor body with rags and dress the heart in the vestments of salvation and the garments of mirth, than to wear gold-brocaded clothes and bear the fire at the center of one's soul, the fire that sears the heart with demonic grieving. What profits you to sit in your body, enjoying every comfort among the beautiful corners of your house, if your heart is cast from an ornamented chamber into the outer darkness of discontent? Enlightened viewers, it's been a pleasure to have your company on today's Words of Wisdom.